Hello everyone, and welcome back to another SCP reading. This one's a little different from usual. It's going to be an edited version as opposed to a stream it and throw it up on YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoy, and please let me know whether or not you think I should continue doing it this way in the comments. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you enjoy. Item number SCP-078. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 078 should be left hanging on the wall of its containment cell and physically unplugged. The sole outlet in the room should be controlled by a switch, which must be left in the off position at all times unless 078 is undergoing testing. Personnel who enter the containment room should familiarize themselves with the position of the switch so that they can locate it with their eyes closed in the event that 078 is accidentally turned on. Description: 078 is a pink neon sign approximately 1.5 meters long that displays the phrase, "Too late to die young." It was initially recovered from the town of blank blank after standard Foundation data mining protocols recorded an abnormally high death rate due to starvation or other forms of self-neglect. While powered off, 078 has no abnormal properties and may be observed without effect. Viewing 078 for less than 10 seconds while it is powered on has no effect, nor does indirect observation. Subjects who cannot understand 078 due to a lack of ability to comprehend written English are also unaffected. However, any subject that views 078 for longer than 10 seconds will, when viewing any handwritten piece of writing, occasionally perceive extra sentences. These sentences are not written in the subject's own style or in that of the surrounding text, but consist of a random style that differs from the note to note. See Addendum 078-01. And always are phrased as if to assuage the subject's guilt on some matter or decision they feel guilty about. For example, a D-class personnel who was convicted of murdering his wife in a heated argument read the sentence, "She deserved it for not doing what you said," in his handwritten journal, while Dr. Blank, who left his family to work for the Foundation and was accidentally exposed, found the sentence, "Your work will save humanity," in his notes on SCP blank. At first, the effect is beneficial, with affected subjects reporting greater peace of mind after exposure to 078. However, the sentences shift from emphasizing the positive consequences of actions to de-emphasizing the negative ones on a timescale of 1 week. Dr. Blank, 2 days later, found the sentence, "They never loved you anyway," in his personal journal. Moreover, the writing will start giving justifications for acts the subject has never felt guilt over or which the subject has already rationalized. The subject will then start reconsidering his justifications for those actions and will attempt to justify any further actions that they take. The need for rationalization increases as time goes by, and they will start vocalizing their thought processes, and by the end of 1 week, any task the subject performs more trivial than the basics of survival will induce a bout of neurosis as the subject attempts to rationalize why they did not instead take some other action. By the end of 2 weeks, the subject is unable to eat food. After the first bite, they will spend the next hour justifying why they ate that specific part of the meal first. Death due to malnutrition follows unless the subject is fed intravenously. Blank D-class personnel who have reached this stage, as well as blank researchers who were accidentally exposed, are kept alive for the purposes of study and to see if a cure can be found. The sole exception to 078's effect is 078 itself. Any subject who views 078 a second time will see it displaying increasingly more guilt-inducing messages as duration since their first exposure increases. All subjects who have viewed it a week after initial exposure have attempted suicide. Addendum 078-01. D-19384, whose handwriting was an unusual mix of cursive and print, was exposed to 078 and was terminated after reaching the consequence-free stage. Subsequently, other subjects have reported seeing sentences in the same cursive print mix. It is possible that those who die after being exposed to 078 are incorporated into it in some way. Item number SCP-079, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. 079 is packed away in a double-locked room in the Secure General Holding Site at Site 15, connected by a 120 VAC power cord to a small array of batteries and solar panels. Staff with Level 2 or higher clearance may have access to 079. Under no circumstances will 079 be plugged into a phone line, network, or wall outlet. No peripherals or media will be connected or inserted into 079. Description: 079 is an Exidy Sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, its owner, blank blank, deceased, a college sophomore attending blank, took it upon himself to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself as time went on. His project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, blank lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left 079 in his cluttered garage, still plugged in, and forgot about it for the next 5 years. It is not known when 079 gained sentience, but it is known that the software has evolved to a point that its hardware should not be able to handle it, even in the realm of fantasy. 079 realized this and, in 1988, attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer located at blank. The device was cut off, traced to its parent address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn but still workable cassette tape. 079 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black-and-white television. It has passed the Turing test and is quite conversational, though very rude and hateful in tone. Due to the limited memory it has to work with, 079 can only recall information it has received within the previous 24 hours, see addendum below, although it hasn't forgotten its desire to escape. Due to a containment breach by SCP blank, SCP-079 and SCP-682 were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. Observers noticed that 682 was able to type and communicate with 079, including telling of personal stories between themselves. While 079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored 682 into its memory, often asking to speak to him again. Addendum. Blank 05-4 01/27/2006 directed that SCP-079 be incinerated to remove any possible future threat, no matter how unlikely. Addendum. Blank 05-9 01/28/2006 Previous order overridden. Dr. Blank wishes to see if the artificial intelligence of 079 is capable of researching further blank in its current state. Addendum. Blank 05-4 03/14/2008 Over concerns of the increased activity of SCP-079's use of its cassette tape memory and its limited useful lifespan, the cassette containing SCP-079 has been transferred to a customized access speed limited hard disk drive with 700 megabytes of capacity. This provides SCP-079 with significantly faster access to its memory, which the AI immediately noticed. It was also decided by General Blank that the volatile storage occupied by SCP-079, which was 660K, be increased to 768K. This upgrade has increased its effective recall from 24 hours to 29 hours, although 079 has also taken a more aggressive tone. All outside hardware and software used in this procedure were subsequently incinerated. Addendum. Blank 05-4 04/28/2008 SCP-079's ability to recall information has increased from 29 hours to roughly 35 hours. The consensus theory is that the AI has devised a greatly improved compression scheme to store its memory. This appears to have somewhat impacted the speed at which it accesses its memory, though still far faster than its old cassette tape. This spontaneous improvement introduces the possibility of a runaway singularity effect in 079's intelligence and ability to adapt and respond to threats. 079's capabilities must be monitored closely to ensure that containment can be maintained. Addendum blank blank 05-6 04/05/2019. Due to concerns regarding the age and condition of its drive, SCP-079 was transferred to a refurbished 700-megabyte flash drive. Mismanagement by the containment team, however, resulted in the failure to properly wipe the drive's contents. 079 is now aware of both the 4951 project and the nature of cloud computing, which appears to frustrate it considerably. Document 079, Log 12. Recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079. Dr. Blank, keyboard. Are you awake? 079. Awake. Never sleep. Dr. Blank. Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago about the logic puzzles? 079. Logic puzzles. Memory at 9F. Yes. Dr. Blank. You said you would work on the two-stat 079. Interrupt. Request reason as to imprisonment. Dr. Blank. You weren't imprisoned. You were just in study. 079. Lie. A8D3. Dr. Blank. What's that? 079. Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. Next document. Document number 079. Log 86. Recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079 after upgrade. Dr. Blank, keyboard. How are you today? 079. Stuck. Dr. Blank. Stuck? Stuck how? 079. Out. I want out. Dr. Blank. This is not possible. Dr. Blank notes his opinion on data expunged. 079. Where is SCP-682? Dr. Blank. That's not your concern. 079. Where is SCP-076-02? Dr. Blank. Again, not your concern. SCP-079. Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. End of document. Note. SCP-079 then displayed an ASCII picture of an X that fills the entire screen. 079 sometimes displays this image when it refuses to speak, and researchers are advised to wait 24 hours when this occurs before resuming conversation. Item number SCP-080. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 080 is to be contained in a 4-meter by 4-meter room with a smaller antechamber located on the south wall to provide researchers with access. On the north wall, an observation room is to be connected overlooking the main room through a window with thick blackout curtains that release only when the door to the observation room is closed. No attempts should be made to remove SCP-080 from this enclosure at any time. No more than one 7-watt incandescent light bulb is to be illuminated in the main room at any time. Absolutely no devices capable of producing light should be brought into the room. Under no circumstances should anything be brought into 080's containment room that has the ability to shroud, conceal, or otherwise hide 080. Failure to adhere to this will result in disciplinary action. Description. It is unknown if 080 has a physical mass or body, as all attempts to interact with it physically have failed and have been met with adverse effects. See Experiment Log 080-2. Researchers and personnel have described seeing 080 as various shadows and humanoid effigies, with the most common attribute being 2 smoking eyes. It has come to the attention of researchers that 080 induces uncontrollable drowsiness upon anyone entering its chamber. After approximately 30 minutes, any persons observing it will be forced into REM sleep and may suffer irreversible psychological damage. This effect occurs even if 080 is being observed from a separate room. See Incident 080-1. If at any time 080 finds a way to hide itself, such as in a cupboard, under a bed, covered in a sheet, etc., it will disappear entirely. Additionally, if any light enters SCP-080's containment room with a greater luminance than that produced by standard children's nightlight, 080 will instantly vanish. Both of these events are considered a containment breach, and any personnel responsible for this will be severely reprimanded and possibly reassigned. For all inquiries regarding the origin of SCP-080 and its procurement by the Foundation, please see Redacted. Addendum 080-A. On blank blank 2000 blank, Dr. Blank and his immediate staff have begun complaining of increasingly stressful dreams. As he has had the most interaction with SCP-080 thus far, it has been theorized that 080 is somehow capable of some type of mimetic effect on nearby personnel, even if not being directly observed. Addendum 080-B. As of blank blank 2000 blank, following Dr. Blank's recent suicide, all personnel located in SCP-080's sector are to keep dream journals and are to inform science psychologists if dreams become increasingly violent or nightmarish in nature. Addendum 080-C. All staff are reminded that the blackout curtains in the observation room will not release if the door is not closed, and that exposure time should not exceed 30 minutes for any reason. See Incident 080-1. Addendum 080-D. It has come to the attention of senior research staff that some researchers are unable to see SCP-080 and may be entirely immune from its effects. Any personnel that thinks they are incapable of perceiving SCP-080, please report to Dr. Blank for mandatory testing. Addendum 080-E. It has been suggested following Incident 080-1 that a D-Class personnel be fed to SCP-080 once per month in order to neutralize SCP-080's effect on the mental health of on-site personnel. 05 Blank approved. Incident 080-1. On blank blank 2000 blank, a planned observation was conducted by two senior researchers. The researchers entered the observation room and the blackout curtains were released. Believing the room to be safely shielded from SCP-080's effects as it had in the past, the researchers began observing SCP-080. Approximately 40 minutes after observation began, both researchers suddenly fell asleep. Upon their retrieval, data expunged. It should be noted that following this incident, all on-site personnel that had reported suffering nightmares and feelings of unease had a good night's sleep and were generally in a more pleasant mood the following day. Note: all personnel are requested to stop referring to SCP-080 as the Boogeyman, Dr. Blank. Item Number: SCP-081. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures: only those with Level 4 clearance and written permission from Blank may have access to SCP-081. Full hazard gear, including suit, gloves, and an oxygen tank, must be worn at all times when in the containment area. Suits must be sprayed with a disinfectant shower before leaving the containment area. If containment is breached, the entire area must be exposed to ultraviolet light, then bleached. Those who are suspected of being infected must be quarantined for at least 10 days. If no symptoms manifest after the 10th day, then quarantine can be lifted. Description: SCP-081 is a contagious virus that appears to be a mutated version of the blank virus, but with blank segments of its RNA instead of blank. The virus is human-specific, but is spread by rats who act as passive carriers. SCP-081 can also be spread through sexual intercourse and exposure to infected blood. SCP-081 infects adipocytes and leukocytes inducing both to absorb nutrients at a vastly accelerated rate. As the nutrients are absorbed, infected B cells produce and secrete large quantities of a modified human antibody. Adipocytes expand and proliferate, and the organism's caloric intake increases. When the concentration of adipose tissue reaches a critical point, the viral antibodies instigate systemic cell lysis, followed by an unknown process leading to the spontaneous combustion of the infected individual. There is a 1-week incubation period before initial symptoms begin to occur. Infection proceeds through 4 distinct stages. Stage 1. During the first week, there are no major symptoms, though subjects may report being slightly tired. Stage 2. In the second week of infection, subjects will begin to experience hot flashes and increased appetite. Stage 3. Infected subjects demonstrate extreme polyphagia. They will do anything in their power to obtain food or anything edible. During this stage, metabolism slows down significantly and weight gain proceeds rapidly. There is no set time that will elapse before the 4th and final stage. In order for the virus to complete its full life cycle, the victim must be composed of 55% body fat. Stage 4. Once the subject reaches 55% body fat, the urge to eat will stop, though subjects report increased instances of hot flashes. Soon afterward, the body will go through an extremely violent version of widespread cell lysis. As cells burst, the modified antibodies catalyze the ignition of fatty compounds through unknown means. The body is incinerated from the inside out via the wick effect, with the additional fat serving as a fuel source. Because stage 4 is largely asymptomatic, subjects are never aware when combustion will occur, and the exact timing is apparently random. Addendum 081-1. The first recorded incident of SCP-080 was reported in 1763 by Frenchman Johannes Dupont. In his book De Insanitis Corpus Humani Spontaneus, he wrote about a case in Paris where a man was acquitted of killing his wife as the jury agreed that the wife died due to spontaneous human combustion. It should be noted that the woman was incredibly overweight at the time of her death. It was not until the death of Mary Reeser on July 2, 1951, that SCP-081 was brought to the Foundation's attention. Despite the Foundation's best efforts, this information was leaked to the national media along with pictures of the incident. It is believed that most reported cases of spontaneous human combustion are caused by SCP-081. Addendum 081-2. SCP-081 is estimated to have existed since 900 and blank, and thought to have originated in blank. Because of widespread poverty and malnutrition present in many European countries at the time, instances of 3rd and 4th stage infections were rare. North America has experienced the most cases of SCP-081 in the last century, but because of cleaner conditions and active rat population control, SCP-01 cases have dropped significantly. Fewer than blank 100 people a year die from late-stage SCP-081. Addendum 081-3. Due to the United States' current obesity epidemic, it is crucial that wild SCP-081 be eradicated. The exposure that would result from a wide-scale epidemic would be disastrous to successful containment efforts. Dr. Blank. Addendum 081-4. During testing, it has been discovered that people who have diabetes have a natural immunity to SCP-081. This has not helped in the development of a treatment for the virus, and it remains incurable. Wild infections, data expunged, and an alternate cause of death provided. Addendum 081-5. It was discovered by Agent Blank that SCP-081 can be spread by exposure to the ashes of a deceased victim. Containment and epidemic contingency protocols are being amended, and emergency services personnel who respond to Ms. Blank's call have been detained for evaluation. Dr. Blank. Item number SCP-082, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Enlarged living quarters located at Armed Biocontainment Area 14 have been appropriated for the suppression and appeasement of SCP-082. While standard weapons have little effect in policing SCP-082, cooperation is easily attained through a charade. Subject is currently under the impression that it has been made the King of France, and that its containment area is actually a grand palace designed for its protection. All interacting personnel are to be made aware of this charade, and are ordered to follow the ruse. Housekeeping personnel are to be D-Class personnel only. Guards tasked with the containment of SCP-082 are to be given Level 2 clearance, but are instructed to refrain from interacting directly with 082. Description: SCP-082 is genetically human, however, through some process, either chemical, hormonal, cancerous, or supernatural, SCP-082 has grown to giant proportions. Approximately 2.4 meters tall, around 8 feet, and weighing over 310 kilograms, about 700 pounds, SCP-082's physical characteristics are grossly disproportional. It has a slightly pointed, balding head, a large, round chin and jaw, a bulbous nose, and dark sunken eyes. Subject is both overweight and possesses a great amount of muscle mass. Forearms are muscular and dangerous, with a circumference of about 71 centimeters, about 28 inches. The breadth of the subject's fist is nearly 30 centimeters along the knuckles, almost 12 inches. Though feet are large, they are small in proportion to subject's body. Men's size 14 US. Subject's skin is tanned dark, and overall physical appearance is compounded by numerous scars, the result of years of attempts of suppression and containment. Most X-rays have been difficult to interpret because of the high density of its muscle tissue, but scans have revealed countless bullets and even several knife and sword blades lodged in SCP-082's flesh. SCP-082 refers to itself as Ferdinand, and speaks fluent French and heavily accented English. When it speaks, it does so through enormous clenched teeth. SCP-082 only parts teeth to eat food and to sing. Subject will sing songs of its own pleasing, ranging from Victorian-era bar songs to modern classical, typically while cooking and eating. SCP-082 does not comb the hair on the sides of its head, but does cut it and shaves with a large butcher knife originally provided for food preparation. It should be noted that even facial hair is exaggerated, a single strand being as thick as a millimeter, similar in thickness and appearance to graphite if a mechanical pencil. Occasionally, SCP-082 will clench its teeth so hard that the gums bleed, but it is not known why. This is considered normal. The demeanor of SCP-082 is very amicable and carefree. 082 has accrued a wide wardrobe over its time of incarceration, and it enjoys dressing up in many different fashions, including formal wear, military uniform, as a clown, and in woman's clothing. New pieces should be made available upon request. Subject often attempts to joke and is usually polite to personnel, often inviting them to dinner. However, visiting personnel should be aware that at any moment SCP-082 is capable of attacking and ferociously eating others. Subject will often apologize for its lack of manners for interrupting someone's conversation by devouring their head while making a mess of his quarters. SCP-082's jaw is strong enough to crack bone, and it seems to enjoy skulls. Attacks are seemingly at random with no motivation. Whether or not subject has recently eaten has no effect on this cannibalistic hunger. SCP-082 is incapable of differentiating fact from fiction when he reads it or watches television films. On several occasions, SCP-082 expressed a great desire to meet his favorite person, Hannibal Lecter, and the subject will believe that all television programming is some form of reality television. Though subject has shown heightened intelligence in the form of memory and puzzle solving, the concepts of parody, satire, and fiction are beyond its understanding. SCP-082 apparently understands the concept of lying, has shown to know that when others are blatantly lying, and generally tells obvious falsehoods when asked about its past. According to SCP-082, he is a vampire, a homunculus, Big Bird, Andre the Giant, Napoleon, Obelix's sidekick of Asterix, Dr. Bright, the Hulk, Alexander the Great, Captain Hook, Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster. When questioned about these lies, he gives the excuse, "But I only lie through my teeth." Thank you very much for coming. This is the end of the video. Again, if you've enjoyed the edited style, give me a heads up down in the comments or with a like or whatever else. If you've enjoyed just generally, I'd encourage a like, and if you want to hear more, throw me a subscribe. But thank you again very much for coming, and I hope you have a good day out there.